I had to make a choice when the kids were younger about whether or not I wanted to start to instill these values about diversity and inclusion, about acceptance, about supporting difference, and even about orientation at a younger age. Now, many different people have different values and different views on this. I know that there are individuals who will say, I absolutely would not tolerate my child coming home and saying that they were now gay, or bringing home a partner of the same sex. I completely understand. We're all in different places in terms of what we are willing to accept and what we are willing to promote in our homes and families. But in my case, with my husband and I, we have made an active decision, given that we believe in human rights and we believe in everybody's right to dignity and equality, that we want to raise children who know that they are safe and who know that they can love who they want, whether it's race, religion, orientation, and who know that they can count on us to support them. So for families who are wondering, how do we do this? I wanted to talk about 3 things that I've been doing since my kids were young that have made a difference and that have helped raise them to know that this is part of, our family. So the first thing that I did was I started early. I didn't wait to have the conversation about who they can love when they walk to the door with their grad prom date, and I'm shocked because I had no idea it was going to be a person of the same sex, right? I didn't wait for that big moment to come and surprise all of us. I didn't leave it till then. So the first thing that you can do as a parent is start having these conversations much earlier. I think it's really important because that's how we develop and instill values in our children, is starting at a young age and being consistent in the conversations that we have and the things that we value over time. The second thing is to talk about why this is an issue and why we have the values that we have in our family. And so, I know individuals that I've worked with. I know people in the network. I've gone to conferences where I've heard very painful and moving stories about what people have gone through. And I bring those lived experiences home and we discuss them. I know that my children have individuals in their classes who were born female but are going through transition into being male. And they come home and they ask me questions about that. They talk to me openly about that. They, if at one point I think there was some fear around it, and I said, you don't need to be worried. It doesn't, a person's personal choice about their orientation doesn't mean it's going to impact you, but you do need to be respectful and inclusive. And I said, I encourage you to create play dates and help the person feel included, and let me know how I can support. So we talk about real life examples in their lives, in our lives. We talk about what it costs in terms of freedom for people around the world who live in countries that persecute them for the choices that they've made for their lives. And some say choices. I'm not sure that being LGBTQI2S is even a choice. That's a whole other discussion. I would say that that's not a choice. But regardless, I think, it's really important that we create safe spaces to have those conversations, because you want to have those conversations at home rather than them having advice coming from other places, right? Now, the last thing that I've done that's super important is to have honest conversations. So, just today, my son said to me, Mom, why do you always bring it up? Every time I talk about, my future with a partner, you always say your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whatever you want. And I said, it's because I want you to understand that it's not that I expect you to turn out one way or another, but it's that I want you to hear from me consistently over time that you will be supported, that whoever you bring home that you love will be embraced. And it is so important for me for him to know that those are my values and that those are what we will be living by when the time comes. Whether it's a person with a different skin color from us, or a person from a different religion, or a person with a different orientation, we have those honest conversations now. And it's great that I hear questions coming at me, that I'm being asked, why would you say that? What's on your mind? Like, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? And we're developing a long-term relationship and dialogue about difference and diversity, and about acceptance, and about challenges in the world. And I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, my children understand how important it is for us as a family, for my husband and I as a couple, to be not only accepting, but to also be supporting and taking actions that support individuals who are being marginalized because of who they are. Um, this is just, this is not work that I do in the office. It's who I am as a human being. It's what matters to me, and my legacy in the world. And I'm just so proud that, I live in a country where I can stand behind my values and I can help people experience inclusive families and homes. I mean, if any of my kids walked home with any kind of person from a different background, they can come home confidently knowing that they will be accepted, that I will have them at our dinner table, that they will be included. I'm not going to judge somebody because they came from a different socioeconomic background, or because they come from a single parent family, or because they have a disability. That's not who I am. And I think it's so important that we model that behavior with our own kids, because they don't learn from that last moment conversation that you have at the prom date. They learn about who they are and who you are long before that. And I never want my kids to have the painful experience that so many people have had when they couldn't come home and tell their families that they were who they were, and that they wanted to be embraced for who they were. So, as I said, very sensitive topic, but I think a very important one. And I just wanted to share 3 tips that I think are really important and practical, and that have made a big difference for us as we raise our children. Thanks. Take care.